to beginner yoga for Withington Baths. So we're going to get started straight away. If you have a cushion or a blanket or anything that you want to practice with to make it a little bit more cozy, grab that stuff now, and just remember you can hit pause anytime you want on this video and repeat bits or skip bits out. Take it all at your own pace. If it moves too quickly, slow down, take a break whenever you want to, and just remember to keep breathing. So that breath is the priority here. So we're going to start seated, so you can come into a kneeling position like me, or you can sit cross-legged or with the legs out in front, or if none of that is comfortable, you're welcome to start lying down on your back. We're just going to begin today's practice by checking into the breath and just starting to slow down a little bit, unwind, so that we can come to our practice with a little bit more presence. So if you are seated, then just resting the hands down on the lap or on the knees, and if you're lying down, then just taking the hands a few inches away from the sides of the body and turn those palms up, allowing the chest and the shoulders to be open. If you are still seated, just trying to make sure that we're lifting a little bit through the spine so that we're not kind of hunching forwards with the shoulders. We spend a lot of time with that top of the spine rounding forwards and the shoulders coming forward. So let's just try and reverse a little bit of that now by lifting a little through the spine, rolling the shoulders away from the ears. And if you can just visualize where your shoulder blades are on your back, see if you can draw them together a little bit more and feel that nice opening effect that has across the chest and the collarbones. Just this slightly more longer seated position, this lifted seated position, allows the breath to flow a little bit easier, a little bit more freely. And the deeper we can breathe, the more we can start to influence the nervous system and start to calm ourselves down and start to come out of our stress response. So if you haven't already, just start to deepen your breath a little bit. And we're trying to breathe in and out through the nose. Seeing if you can start that breath down in the belly, and then fill it up into the ribs and right up into the chest. And when you're ready for your exhale, breathing out from the tummy first, then the ribs, then the chest. And just continuing with this deep full belly breathing at your own pace. Begin to notice the movement in the body with the breath. So that expansion and the lift with each inhale, and the contraction and slight softening with each exhale. Just see if you can start to use those exhales to soften any tension that we're feeling around the eyes. Soften around the forehead, the temples, relax the jaw, relax the neck, maybe bringing the chin down a little bit towards the chest, just to make sure that we've got a really nice long back of our neck. Just spending a couple more moments here, just simply being with your breath. And if this is the first time you've noticed your breath for a while, how does it feel to just tune in? To be a little bit more present with what's going on right now. And then just become aware of your surroundings. Become aware of which parts of your body are in contact with your mat. If you do have the eyes closed, just blinking them open now. And if you are seated, we'll come down to lie on the back now. So if you're already lying on your back, stay exactly where you are. So we're just going to take a moment here to Lie on the back, legs out long if it feels okay, arms just resting by the sides of the body. And if you have just been seated, notice how it feels to have released your seated position. Do we feel anything around the joints now as we've kind of released the pressure on the joints a little bit? And it's good to put a little bit of pressure into the joints every once in a while. A bit of healthy stress is great for the tissues. So now just wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes. And we'll start to take that movement into the wrists and ankles. So just circling the wrists and the ankles one way and then the other way. And when you're ready, bring the feet towards each other. So keeping the legs out long, just bring those feet together and then take the arms up overhead. Give yourself a big full body stretch, pointing through the toes, reaching up through the hands. Big stretch, nice big breath in when you're ready. And then as you exhale, bring the knees into the chest and hug them in. And then just slowly start rocking the body from side to side. And hopefully we're feeling a nice massaging effect on the lower back now. Continuing to breathe in and out through the nose. And on your next breath out, we'll just lower the feet back down onto the mat. Keeping the knees bending now with the feet about hip distance apart and the feet quite close into the bum. I'm going to take the arms out wide at about shoulder height with the palms facing up. Take a big breath in here. And as you exhale, let the knees slowly come over to your right. If it feels okay in the head, turn and the neck, turn the head to the left, so the opposite way. With your next breath in, bring the head and the knees back into center. And then as you exhale, take it all the other way. So the knees over to the left, and if the neck is okay, turn the head to the right. Keep going, following the rhythm of your own breath. So each breath in brings us back into center, and each breath out takes us into that little twist. So just starting to rotate through the spine here. And we also get the hips moving a little bit, and you might start to feel that little massaging effect across the glutes, across the buttocks. And just starting to tune into all the sensations that we can feel just by making these quite simple movements. A lot is happening in the body. We're working with the breath. We're starting to create that union. And that union of mind, body, breath, that is what yoga is. The next time that the knees have gone over to the left and the head has gone over to the right, we'll bring the knees back into center. So don't rush it. If you're still coming through it, keep going. We're going to wait. Once we're back in center, just taking a few moments to come back into that breath. So it's quite normal, especially if we're new to the practice of yoga, it's quite normal and it's to be expected that we kind of lose our breath or we forget about the breath. So we take these moments in between to find that breath again, breathing into the tummy, the ribs, the chest, and then breathing out from the tummy, the ribs, and the chest. Taking a big breath in now. And as you exhale, just bring the right knee in towards the chest. I'm going to interlace the fingers around the knee or around the shin, and then try and drop the shoulders. So notice if you're squeezing the shoulders up, try and drop them down towards the floor. And then from there, if you want to, we can bend the elbows a little bit and squeeze that knee in a little bit tighter. Your options are to stay like this, working from here, or if you feel like you want to, straighten the left leg out along the mat. And if we are straightening that left leg out, try to keep the left foot active by pushing that left heel forwards and bringing the toes back towards the face. So we're flexing in that left foot, and then we're going to flex the right foot here. So again, pushing that right heel forwards, flexing the toes back. Try and spread both sets of toes out as wide as you can. Nice. And then just focusing on your right foot now, point the right toes, but keep that left foot active. And with that right foot moving, we're just going to come backwards and forwards between flexing the foot and pointing the foot. And then after a few goes at that, just start to circle your right foot round and round. So we're really trying to isolate that movement in the ankle. Get that ankle moving. And then circle the ankle the other way. Beautiful. And then we'll just bring it back into stillness with that foot flexed. Maybe squeeze that knee in a little bit more if it feels okay to do so. Lovely. And then bend the left knee if you had it straight. Return the right foot to the floor so we end up back in this more neutral position. Just take a moment to notice how one side might feel slightly different. Notice how the lower back feels right now and come back to the breath. Deep inhales, deep exhales, in and out through the nose. And then on your next breath out, bring your right knee in towards, your left knee in towards the chest. Wrapping the fingers around the knee or around the shin, and then once again relax the shoulders. Let go of that tension. We carry a lot of tension in the shoulders. We carry the world on our shoulders, as the saying goes. Try and let some of it go. Now is your time. Okay, so bringing that knee in a little bit closer if we want to, but keeping those shoulders relaxed, and then making that decision with what you want to do with that right leg. You can keep it bending or straighten it out. And then we're flexing through that right foot, so really pushing forwards through the heel, bringing the toes back towards the face. Same in the left foot. And then spread both sets of toes out as big as you can here. So we start to wake up the feet here, and as we wake up the feet, we wake up the rest of the body. Okay, just focusing the movement now in the left foot. Keep the right foot as it is. Left foot is going to come backwards and forwards between point and flex. And so when we're pointing that foot, we're really squeezing it up as tight as we can, and when we're flexing it, we're making it as big as we can, really pushing that heel forwards. And then just start to circle that left foot. And circle the other way. Stay with your breath. Beautiful. Bring it back into that flex. Maybe squeeze the knee in a little bit tighter if it feels okay to do so. And then bend the right knee again. Bring the foot flat onto the floor. Bring that left foot onto the floor also. And just take a moment here to allow the body to reset into neutral, resting the hands wherever they're comfortable. From here, we're going to really carefully roll onto the right side of your body. Use the left hand to press yourself up, and then we're going to come over into an all fours position. So we're going to come into tabletop position here with the fingers spreading nice and wide, and we're trying to make this table position in our body. So the wrists are directly below the shoulders here, knees directly below the hips, and those fingers stay spreading as wide as they possibly can. Give the tops of the feet a little bit of a tap on the floor, and then press them into the floor. So pushing a little bit through the tops of the feet to start activating through the core. Keeping the spine in neutral, we're just going to start to come forwards and backwards here, just to warm the wrists up a little bit. Once we kind of get the hang of that, start taking it in circles. So it doesn't matter which way you've gone with your circles, we're going to change directions in a minute. When you're ready, go the other way. Nice. Coming back into centre, we're going to turn those fingers outwards, but keep those wrists at shoulder distance apart, and just start to sway the body from side to side. Start getting into those wrists. Okay, lovely. Bringing it back into centre, turn those fingers forward, start to walk back towards your knees. If it feels okay, come to sit on the heels. If not, we're going to just come up to stand on the knees. Interlace the fingers, start to just circle through those wrists. And if the practice can get really tough on the wrists, especially when we're not used to it, so come out and do any of this sort of stuff if you're starting to feel it in the wrists. Give the hands a little bit of a shake, And then when you're ready, come back into that tabletop shape, back into that all fours position, tops of the feet pressing down into the mat. As you inhale next, we're going to start to lift the hips up, arching through the back to drop the tummy down towards the floor. Start to lift the chin, lift the chest, and slide the shoulder blades down the spine. With your next breath out, we're going to reverse this shape by tucking the tailbone under, rounding through the spine, tucking the chin towards the chest, really push through the hands to separate shoulder blades. One more time through each, coming into your cow, lifting tailbone, lifting chin, lifting chest, and slide the shoulders down the spine. And then with your exhale, round through the back, tuck tailbone under, tuck chin into chest. Beautiful. Coming back into your neutral spine. And then from here, we're going to take the hands a little bit further forwards. So the wrists are now quite a way forwards ahead of your shoulders. Keep those fingers spreading nice and wide. Tuck the toes under. We're going to lift the knees up off the ground. Keeping the knees bending, start to press your chest back towards your thighs as we start to come into a variation of down dog with the knees bending. From here, just take a little bit of bounce. So we're just bouncing up and down in the knees a little bit. Keep the fingers spreading wide and look towards your feet. Then one at a time with the legs, we're going to start to straighten out one leg and then the other. So as one leg straightens, the other leg bends. And don't worry if they don't straighten completely. We're just starting to work into the musculature of the back of the legs. And we might feel quite strong sensations of stretching, but if anything starts bordering on painful, then keep those knees bending a little bit more and remember to take a rest whenever you need to. Try to stay with that nice deep breath in and out through the nose. Okay, with your next breath in, we're going to bring the knees back down onto the floor. Untuck the toes and start to sink the bum back towards the heels, keeping the hands out in front. Bring the forehead down onto the floor. Don't worry if it doesn't reach. And we keep reaching forwards through those hands. So we're getting a really nice stretch now into the top of the back, into the shoulders. And we might feel that down lower in the spine and in towards the hips. We may feel that more in the knees or the tops of the feet. Just breathe into wherever you feel the most sensation. From here, we're going to start to walk those hands all the way back towards the knee. So we're just going to come into a slightly different variation of child's pose now. Keeping the toes together, just separate the knees out a little bit wider, maybe mat distance apart if that feels okay. And then this time we're going to relax the elbows down on the floor. So a slightly more relaxed version, a bit more hip opening. If the forehead doesn't quite make it to the floor, here we're going to stack the hands up underneath the forehead and rest the forehead on the hands so that we can relax as much as possible into this pose. Find your breath here. So if possible, breathing into the tummy first, and we've got that space now in between the thighs to allow that tummy to expand with each inhale. Then we're sending the breath into the ribs, then into the chest. And as we breathe out, pulling the tummy button in towards the spine to expel the air from the tummy first, then the ribs, then the chest. And then when you're ready, just lifting the head all the way up. As carefully as you can, bring those knees back towards each other. Come over to lie on your back. We've got one more position to come into, a really nice relaxing position hopefully. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Allow the knees to drop out wide and then shuffle your bum as close as you can towards your heels. From here we're going to take a slow roll back onto the spine And there's a few different options for your arms here. You can rest your hands on your inner thighs here, which will just add a tiny little bit of weight into that hip opener. Or you can bring your hands onto your tummy, feel that breath coming in and out. You might want to just rest your hands by the sides of the body with the palms up. You might want to take them out wide, and we start to feel that in the shoulders and down the arms and through the chest. Or if you're craving a little bit of overhead action, we might want to take hold of opposite wrists above the head or opposite elbows above the head. And then just try and relax into this position as much as possible for the next 3 breaths. So just one more full breath in and out. And then after your next exhale, release the arms if you've had them overhead. Use the hands to guide the legs back together. And then just separating those feet out to mat distance apart. So wiggle those feet out as wide as the edges of your mat. And then let the knees drop in and take each other's weight. So those knees are resting against each other now. Arms are going to rest by the sides of the body or a few inches from the sides of the body. And again, just visualizing where your shoulder blades are on your back. Maybe we lift the chest here and slide those shoulder blades a little closer together. Then release ourselves back onto the mat so we're lying flat. Close down the eyes now if it feels okay. Settle the breath. So allow that breath to return to its natural rhythm. In and out through the nose. Just take a moment to notice how your body feels now. Take a moment to check in and notice how you feel mentally. So what is the quality of the mind right now? Maybe that mind is super busy in thought. Maybe there's a little bit more stillness in the mind today. Or maybe it's a little bit of a mixture of both. And there's no right or wrong answer here. It's just about noticing where we're at. In the same way, notice how you're doing emotionally. So noticing anything going on in the heart right now without any judgment and without any criticism. Just awareness. Start to bring a slightly deeper breath back into the body. Begin to wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. And when you're ready, take the arms and the legs back out into that really nice big long line as if you're waking up again in the morning. Stretch it all out. Take a big breath in when you're ready. And as you exhale, guide both knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Maybe bring the nose up towards the knees now. Maybe whisper a little thank you to your body. And then release the head and the shoulders back down onto the floor, keeping the knees bending. Let's take a roll over onto the right side again. And then carefully use your left hand to bring yourself all the way up into any comfortable seated position. So cross-legged, kneeling on a chair is fine as well, or on a cushion, just as long as that spine is nicely lifted. And then resting the palms wherever they're comfortable, closing down the eyes if it feels okay. Just bring attention to the back of the neck. We want to try and keep the back of the neck nice and long, so just maybe really ever so slightly dipping the chin down a little bit towards the chest. Relax the shoulders. Take a moment here to take a big breath in through the nose and then release it through the mouth. 2 more releasing breaths that way. Inhale deeply through the nose, all the way to the top of the lungs. Open the mouth and sigh it out. And then last one, biggest breath you've taken all day. All the way to the top, excuse me. And then open and sigh it out. Return to your natural breath now, in and out through the nose. Take one last little moment to check in with how you feel. And then bring your hands together in front of the heart space, bringing the chin down slightly more towards the chest. Taking a moment to honour your practice, honour the effort and the energy, and just thank yourself for showing up for your practice. Thank you so much for sharing that practice in this kind of digital way. The light in me sees the light in all of you. Namaste.